Okay, so I've completed 4 buildings. Okay, so if I'm a 6th grader, I'm ready to start adding doors and windows. If I'm a 7th grader, I need to add one more building. But as you can see, I've used kind of a small piece of paper, so my 5th building I could add in there, but I'm not going to see a lot of that building. So let's look at doors and windows. Okay, doors and windows. On the front of my building, they're fairly easy. Let me zoom in here a little bit on one of my buildings, that way you can really see well. Okay. I'm going to pick this one right here, this small little guy. Okay, so I've got my ruler. I'm going to work on the front of my building. The front of my building, I'm going to say is that rectangle that I started off with. That I'm going to call the front. The side of my building is anything that I drew by going to the vanishing point and then adding parallel lines. So this would be the side of my building, and this would be the top of my building. Okay, so I'm going to work on the front of my building. I want to make a door. Obviously, a door in a cityscape. I'm probably in a city, which means that that building probably has a lot of people. So I'm probably going to want maybe a double door, maybe 2 sets of double doors. You're just going to have to think about it. What is that building's purpose? It's probably going to have more than one door on the front. Not always, but usually it's going to have more than one door. And it's probably going to have a door on the side. But let's just start with doors on the front. Those are easy. Okay. So a door on the front of my building, I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to line it up with my vertical lines to make sure that I'm drawing something that's parallel, because vertical, regardless of where it's at in one point perspective, it needs to be parallel to the other vertical lines around it. So I'm going to draw a door. Now I'm going to be thinking, how big does my door need to be? How tall does it need to be? If it is taking up half of my building, that's probably too big of a door, especially for someplace downtown. This is a cityscape, so it's highly unlikely that they're trying to put a combine in there, okay? So there's probably no reason for it to be a gigantic door, okay? So now I'm going to make a parallel horizontal line for the top of my door. Pretty easy so far, right? Just like drawing doors any other time. Now I've made my door pretty wide. I'm going to make it a double door, I think. We're going to have a set of double doors here. Oops, I got to line it up and make sure it's parallel. Get my parallel, slide it back towards my door. So there's my door. I want to divide my door in half to make it a double door. Now I usually just estimate or guess which is halfway between. If you want to actually measure, because it's going to drive you nuts if it's not perfectly in between, then you can go ahead and do that. But for this, for me, for right now, for this purpose, estimating and getting close enough is okay. But if you're one of those people that is going to bother you a whole lot, that it's not exactly perfect, by all means, measure and figure out what is halfway. Okay? Now, I think, because my door is a little off center, I think I'm going to add a third singular door. I'm going to add another door that is singular over here towards the side. Okay? Because that'll kind of balance out my building. It'll make it a little more even. Okay? So I lined the doors up with the top of the other door, so that way they're all the same height. Okay? There we go. Now I have another door. Pretty easy. Nothing too hard yet. Well, now let's look at doors on the sides. Okay? Doors on the sides are a little more tricky. Just like when I made the side of my building, I have to line it up with the vanishing point. Vertical lines need to be parallel. So I want to start off with the parallel line, or the vertical line, that's going to be parallel, that is farthest from my vanishing point. I know that my vanishing point is over in this direction, even though you can't see it right now. So therefore, I need to start with this vertical line. The first vertical line I drew because it was part of my build, part of that first rectangle. I'm going to start there. I'm going to get my parallel, and I'm going to slide it over. And I'm going to draw my first vertical line of my door. There we go. Now what I want to do is from the top of that door, which I made a little tall. Let me fix that. It's a little on the tall side. There we go. From the top of that door, I want to angle it towards my vanishing point. That means I want to line up from the top of that line to my vanishing point. I don't need to draw the line clear out to my vanishing point because, well, that's a lot of erasing for that small little door, isn't it? So then I will draw the top of my door, okay? It should have a similar angle from this line right here that I drew towards the vanishing point and this line right here that I drew towards the vanishing point. They're not going to be parallel because they're going to the exact same location, which would be opposite of parallel because they will intersect and parallel lines do not intersect. So now I'm going to get my parallel again because I'm going to draw the other side of my door. There's my parallel. There's where my door ends. There we go. This one I can divide into two as well. Get my parallel back. Slide it. Again, I'm going to estimate. I'm going to make my best guess as to what would be centered. And I didn't do a very good job with that. So let's erase it again. Let's erase it. And let's try again. Come a little bit this way this time. There we go. That's closer to center. That is doors on the front and on the side.